Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Amanda. So today's video is really super fun. It's all about like mocktails and appetizers. We're going to be making 3 fun mocktail drinks. I'm not a huge fan of alcohol, so to me I love the like fruity drinks and all the pretty drinks, but this will take kind of the alcohol out of them since you have some, you know, fun drinks to have, but yet you don't have the alcohol in them. So I've got three mocktail recipes, and I also have 3 appetizer recipes. Those were super delicious, so I hope you'll join me so that we can get into these recipes. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I do all kinds of fun recipes, what's for dinners, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'd love to have you join my YouTube family if you haven't already. Also, if you're excited about these recipes, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. But let's go ahead and get into these recipes. So real quick before we get started on these drinks, I'm just making a simple syrup. I've got half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water, and you just use equal parts. So you can do 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, and you're just going to heat it until the sugar completely dissolves and it becomes totally clear. So we're not going to take it to a boil or anything like that, just to where it's just dissolved and it's good and warm, and you're going to set that to the side and let it cool. So first up we have the virgin strawberry daiquiri. Now y'all, I think this was my favorite one. It was so good. And I actually cut this recipe in half just since we'd never tried it before. So I'll have all the recipes linked below, but what I did was use 1 cup of frozen strawberries. I'm also adding in some simple syrup. I'll be honest, I accidentally did the full amount of simple syrup, and that was good. So definitely feel free to adjust any of this as you prefer. Like some people might want it more tart, some people might want it more sweet, and that type of thing. And same thing with like consistency, if you want it more liquidy or more frozen, all that good stuff. So you can adapt it to your liking. So I'm just squeezing some limes here to get some lime juice. We're going to actually use 1.5 tablespoons of lime juice in here, just to kind of give it that little tartness to balance out that sugar. And we're going to add that. And I'm just using my Ninja, like, I guess it's like the smoothie cup. It's, a larger one. And so that worked really well for this, since it was a kind of smaller amount. And then I'm getting some tonic water in here. It calls for a half a cup. Well, that was the half recipe anyways. I'm going to add that in there. And then the recipe says to add some water to it, a fourth to a half a cup, somewhere in that area. I just kind of dropped a little in there. I thought, well, I can always adjust it if I need to. And actually what I put in there worked fine. And I put a couple of ice cubes in there. And we're going to start blending this up and get it all good and combined together and frozen and slushy and yummy. So, and this was so amazing. I've already made it again because my daughter and I both really loved it. So now, what's a frozen drink without making it all pretty, right? So I actually had some like the sanding sugar, and I put that in a plate and some water in a little bowl there, and you just dip that glass in there and then dip it in the sugar, get it all coated on that rim, and it makes such a pretty presentation. And of course here in a minute you're going to see me add a strawberry as well, because that makes it even more pretty. So anything to me, part of the fun about drinks like this is the prettiness of them, like how they're presented. They're fun, they're just different, so I feel like that presentation is a huge aspect on these, top drinks. So, and I'm not a huge fan of alcohol. So to me, like, I love the non-alcoholic versions because I still get to have the pretty drinks, but they taste good to me. So, and you could obviously make these alcoholic if that's what you like too. But these recipes are really fun for us to get to try. So let's try a sip of this. I did take some out. It was supposed to make 2 servings because I cut it in half, and it didn't quite get enough for 2. So I went ahead and spooned some out because my daughter wanted to try it too. But I'm just going to go ahead and try it. I'm just going to go ahead and take the strawberry off so it didn't run into my face. That is really good. There's a lot of tart coming from the lemon. And then the strawberry taste, oh my goodness, that's really refreshing, especially when it's hot outside. I really recommend this one. So next up we have virgin margaritas. Now I don't think I've ever had one on the rocks before. Years ago I had a frozen one, but this was super easy to put together. The recipe is actually only just for 1 drink, so keep that in mind. You could multiply it by however many you need it. But I've got some lime juice and lemon juice going in there. And then this also actually calls for some maple syrup or simple syrup. So you can use whichever one you like. I will say that this ended up being quite tart, so I would recommend increasing the simple syrup. I did that later after I tried it later on, and it tasted really good like that. So, and it also calls for 1/8 teaspoon of pickle juice. Now the recipe says that's optional, but it's recommended because it kind of helps give it that kind of, well, it says funky flavor, but I didn't taste a funky flavor, but it kind of, I guess, helps it taste a little more like tequila. And then I've also added some tonic water in. I misread the directions, and you actually don't add the tonic water. You pour it on top, but either way, it turned out fine, so it's okay. Now in the bowl, I've got some lime juice, and I'm just dipping the glass in there, and then I'm dipping it in some flake salt. You can't hardly see it on that plate like that, but it turned out, you know, fine. I didn't have like Margarita salt or anything like that, and that worked just fine. And then you're going to add in some ice cubes into your cup, trying not to knock your salt off there, of course. And then we're going to get the drink poured in there. Now, it didn't quite fill up this glass. I'm not honestly sure like what a typical, you know, glass would be. I know they have the Margarita glasses. I didn't have any of those, but I feel like it should have been a little fuller than that. So you might even want to double it just for, you know, one person. And then you're going to garnish it with a lime wheel, and it just looks so cool and refreshing. And this one was so good. I love the salty and sourness of it. So just like the other one, I took some out to share with a couple of my kids. This is a mocktail margarita. I have had a margarita like this frozen like a long time ago. So I don't even know what the ones that aren't like slushy taste like exactly, but it's pretty. So I'm gonna try to get this lime off so I can get a side with not too much salt on it. Alrighty. There's a lot of tartness from the lime. Maybe decrease that just a little bit. And then that nice saltiness from the salt. And actually I think it's pretty good. Like it's a little tart. But if you blended it and made it into a frozen one, I think it'd be really similar. Maybe add a little more simple syrup, but that was not quite enough, I don't think. But otherwise it was really good. Now our last drink is going to be the Virgin Pina Colada, and then we're going to get started on our appetizers. So I've got a 16-ounce package of frozen pineapple, and I'm adding in a can of coconut milk. Then I'm adding a little bit of maple syrup in there, and we're just going to blend this all together and get it good and combined and nice and frosty. And I will say, I do try this, of course, for you just like the others. After I drank it a little bit more, I was not a huge fan of this one. It was, you know, okay at first, but I would really like more strong pineapple taste, and I didn't really get that. That could have also been that maybe the pineapple I got, you know, the frozen one, maybe it wasn't really ripe or something like that. So it could depend on the type of pineapple you used and everything too, as far as like how ripe it ended up being. But I think I'll look for another recipe for this, or maybe try a little something different. But now my daughter actually really did like it, so you just never know. Now let me know what y'all's favorite like mixed drink, whether it be, you know, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Let me know what you like, because I think some of these fruity drinks are just so fun to recreate. And I'm just topping this with a little chunk of pineapple and a cherry with a stem there. And I love those maraschino cherries. They're always so good. But there you go. So it's our pina coladas. So here's our pina colada. I'm excited to try this. I definitely love like pineapple. It's one of my favorite fruits. I've got my cherry in there and my pineapple on the side for garnish. I'm going to try it. So it's pretty good. I can definitely taste like a little bit of the pineapple. The pineapple's not as strong as I would like it. And I would like more of a pronounced coconut flavor. So I may try to find a different recipe too and try it and see if I can find something a little more what I had in mind. But it's still really refreshing, really good too. I'm excited I've tried all these, and I hope y'all enjoy them too, because I think it's fun to just have some fun, pretty drinks. So we're diving into these easy appetizers with some Bloody Mary deviled eggs. I thought that would be a really fun twist on, since we're doing mocktails, and all those drinks were super easy to make. We're going to make some fun, easy appetizers to go with it. So I've just got some hard-boiled eggs here, and those turned out really good. I didn't get any green. I swear I don't ever seem to turn it out the same each time, but I was really happy to see them be that perfect yellow with no green. So we're just going to scoop out those yellows in the bowl, and we're going to get ready to build our filling. These were so good, y'all. Oh my goodness. Like, I love deviled eggs, but these were just such a fun spin on deviled eggs and so much flavor. Like, I really enjoyed them. But we're just adding some mayonnaise in here, and you'll see me a little bit. I actually do add a little more mayonnaise to make it a little more creamy. Now in this, I'm adding in a little bit of tomato paste, horseradish. I just did just a tiny bit of hot sauce because I didn't want to make it too hot. Some celery seed and some black pepper. Now, it did call for lemon juice, and as I'm watching this back, I'm just now realizing I left that out. I'm sure that would be a really good addition, so I will definitely remember that next time. But these were absolutely amazing the way they were. So, but I'm definitely going to add that in to see what that adds to it as well. And here you can see me adding just a little bit more mayonnaise. I just like my filling to be, pretty creamy, and that was not getting creamy yet, so it just needed a little bit more. And so you can definitely do what you need, with yours. Yours may turn out a little more creamy. It probably just depends sometimes too. But I'm just placing this in a Ziploc bag, and we're going to actually use that to pop our filling into our eggs, which is so handy, and it makes it really easy to get all that filling in there. And then you can just throw the bag away when you get done. So I actually made this part the night before and then put that in the refrigerator. So this is an appetizer. You can do some of the prep work ahead of time, save you a little time, and that helps if you have several things to make. So we're just taking these egg halves and dipping them in Old Bay. Now I have a reduced sodium Old Bay that I use. It's super delicious. Like, I love that seasoning. I use it a lot of time even on chicken. So we're just going to dip all these in that, and then they're going to be ready for us to fill. We're also going to cut up some tiny little pickles, and then some celery, like the leaves part, that you're going to use that kind of as garnish. So, which I honestly think is part of the cutest things about these deviled eggs, is seeing that little bit of celery sticking up out there, and of course the cute little pickle there and everything. And you could even do, I'm sure whatever, I think I read somewhere in the comments, maybe that people put like bacon, like a little bit of bacon on there and things like that. So you could definitely do whatever toppings you want to make it more like stuff that you might put, in a Bloody Mary, which I've never had one of those, so I don't know what it tastes like. But these were definitely very delicious, and I highly recommend this recipe. It was just really good. I actually only made half the recipe, and I really regretted that later on. So I actually just found these snack size packages of the pickles, the little tiny ones, and I thought that worked out so nice, because then you could just use a little bit of one. My daughter finished the rest of that pack because she loves pickles. So I'm just laying the deviled eggs on this tray. These trays were actually sent to me by Sweese. They let me pick out a product that I could review on my channel. I love kitchenware. I'm going to give you some more information about that here in a little bit, but I loved these trays. They're so handy for these appetizers, and I'll definitely be using them often in the future. So next up, we have easy Italian skewers. So first, we're going to just cook our tortellini in some boiling water. Now, you could use refrigerated. This was actually not refrigerated. I don't buy tortellini. Well, I hardly ever buy it, I guess. We just haven't eaten it much. But these were really good. I liked those a lot. And they're, pantry stable, so it's kind of handy to keep it, in your pantry instead of like taking up room in the freezer. So I've actually got some lemon here that I'm juicing. We're going to start actually building an Italian dressing. I did not have any on hand, and I had made some Italian dressing mix in a previous video, and I thought this would be great use of that. I'll just make some homemade Italian dressing. So I've just got like that lemon juice. I've got some oil and vinegar going in there, and then we're going to put a couple tablespoons of that dressing mix in there. And I think I did add just a pinch of salt in there because I don't actually have any salt in that dressing mix. So just because I knew that it might need it just a little bit, I like to be able to control how much I put in there. Now I'm actually going to blend it with my immersion blender, but you don't have to do that. You could just shake it up really well in a container, or you could whisk it together really well. I've seen that done a lot with dressings, and I feel like it really emulsifies everything really well. So I went ahead and used that, but you could definitely use other things too. So now that that's good and mixed up, we're going to sprinkle that on top of our tortellini. You can use as much of it or as little of it as you like. It just depends on how much you want, and you can always add more later. Now the really neat thing about these skewers is whatever leftovers you have, you can just make a pasta salad almost out of it too. So, but the skewers are definitely fun, like especially if you're serving it to people, they can just grab the skewer off. They don't have to dish anything out. It's kind of a fun and easy way to serve it. Now, I found this idea on Pinterest, and they used the mini mozzarella balls. They were out of those at the store when I tried to order them for my pickup order. So I thought, well, I bet mozzarella sticks would work fine, and I could just cut them up. So that's what I did, and this worked perfect. So definitely don't hesitate to always, make substitutions as you need for recipes. And most of the time, it's going to turn out just fine. And it called for ham and pepperoni. I'm not a huge pepperoni fan, so I went ahead and just did ham by itself. But you could do all kinds of different stuff with this. There's all kinds of meats you could use, however you like it. So I let that pasta actually sit overnight in the refrigerator to kind of soak up that dressing. Again, these are ways that you can do some of the prep before. That way, if you do have several things to make for, a gathering or something like that, then you can go ahead and get a head start on a few things so you don't have so much to do the day of. So we're just building these skewers. We're also adding in some olives and some grape tomatoes. You could, again, vary this, like use black olives if you like it. You can use artichokes, all kinds of yummy stuff. So definitely feel free to make these your own. Also, you could go ahead and add some additional Italian dressing on those once they're done, kind of almost like baste them with it. And then that way it gets on all of the goodies that you're putting in there. And especially if you're going to serve some as a pasta salad on the side and maybe along with the skewers or in place of the skewers, you'll definitely want to add some more Italian dressing on there. And of course, bottled fine too. I thought I had some and I did not. So I'm glad I had that mix already ready, and then I could just make my own, and that worked out really well for me. So we were just getting all these done. I went ahead and just placed them in there for the time being until I could put them on my platter. I feel like the easiest way to arrange them is to have that little handle sticking out so everybody can just grab them up off there and they're ready to go. And again, this platter was perfect for this. I loved it so much. I cannot wait to use these again because I just love stuff like this, guys. It's like totally my thing. Like all the kitchen stuff. Give me all the kitchen stuff. I love it so much. So let's go ahead and get into the pork burrata crostini. Now, this was originally a steak burrata crostini, but I actually thought I didn't really want steak that night, so I thought let's just do pork instead. So I used pork tenderloin. I've just got a baguette that I'm cutting into, just thin slices. I will do this a little different next time because the recipe didn't call for anything being put on the bread at all before you toast it. But I did actually, after it got done, I made up some melted butter, some minced garlic, and some Italian seasoning. And I brushed that on there, and I really liked that flavor. But next time, I think I'll actually toast it with that on it first. And then that way, maybe it kind of soaks in a little more and maybe even browns it up a little bit. But that's really the only change I would make to this. And I would like to try it with steak, too. I think it would be really good with that, too. But I'm just going to get all that brushed on there. And while I'm doing that, I did forget to tell y'all how much we enjoyed the skewers. They were really so good. I will definitely make those again. And they were super easy. All these were such easy recipes. I always love easy recipes. Now on this recipe, we had actually never had burrata before. Have any of y'all? It actually is kind of like just a fresh mozzarella, but it has like this creaminess inside that's a little different. So it was really fun to try that, and I liked it a lot. It was really good. It's just a little messy because it comes like in a container with a lot of liquid in it, so you gotta be careful not to slosh it everywhere. Now, I cooked this pork tenderloin in my Ninja Foodie Grill, and I have a video coming up soon that's going to highlight the Ninja Foodie Grill, and I'll show you exactly how I cook a pork tenderloin in there. But we really love that thing, and it makes everything turn out so well. We've been so pleased with everything we've made in it, so I'm excited to show you all that video. Now, here's the burrata, and I've just got it. I wasn't really sure. It didn't really give directions on like how much to put on each piece. And once I started putting the pieces on there, I kind of realized, wow, I'm not going to have enough, and I didn't want to cut into another one because of that creaminess inside. So I actually kind of started cutting each piece in half too. So just kind of do however you'd like, on that. And you could feel free to use even more and use a second piece of the burrata. So it's just up to you however you like to do it. Now these don't get heated again or anything. You just put the burrata on there, and then we're going to top it with the pork tenderloin. It also called for chives and for balsamic vinegar. I wasn't real sure on the balsamic vinegar. I thought, I don't know if everybody will like that. So I didn't put it on all of them, but it was really good. I liked it a lot. And you probably could also use I think I've seen balsamic glaze. So like if you had some of that, I bet you'd use that too. But this was really good. Like I said, all these actually, I will repeat again. All these appetizers were absolutely delicious, and I'm really glad that we tried them and it was just so fun. Like everything was kind of like finger top foods, and it was just really all the drinks that we had and stuff. It was just a fun evening. Now, do y'all have any favorite appetizers that you like make all the time? Maybe, you know, when you have get-togethers or like for holidays or something like that. I'm always interested in seeing what all people, you know, enjoy to make too, because it's always fun to try new recipes. So definitely let me know if you have something that you really like that you make often in the comments down below. Now I'm just going to assemble this onto that platter. I used the biggest platter for these. And again, these platters, I just really enjoyed them because they made them just look so fancy. And I love stuff like that, y'all. I'm a kitchen nerd, I guess you could call me, because I just love all the kitchen gadgets. In fact, my husband used to make me a goodie box of kitchen stuff for Christmas because he knew how much I loved it. So that was one of the sweetest gifts ever. Like, I always look forward to that every year. He's not done that so much now because I have a lot of the gadgets, but it was always so fun when I was first kind of starting out and getting all those new things. Now here are all our appetizers done and on their platters, and everything just looks so festive and so pretty. This was just, like I said, such a fun thing to do, and this was just such a fun video to make. Like, I really enjoyed this whole process of this video because it was just such a fun one. I hope y'all have enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for y'all. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those platters and Sweese. So I hope y'all enjoyed all those drinks and the appetizers. I know we sure did. My daughter, when we had the appetizers on the counter, she was like, it looks like we're having a party. So it was just fun food to make and to eat. So, and their drinks were really good. So I hope y'all have enjoyed those. I want to just take a second and tell you about these platters that I got. So I wanted to tell y'all really quickly about Sweese had actually reached out to me to try one of their products. They have lots of dishware, bowls, platters, mugs, all kinds of stuff like that. And I love anything kitchen related. It is literally my favorite thing. So I was so excited when they reached out to me to see if I wouldn't mind trying one of their products. And I actually picked the platter that they have 3 different sizes here. So I've used these for the appetizers. Of course, you saw them in the video earlier, but these are very versatile. So like this smaller size, you actually could use this. I've seen a lot of people do like where they might put like a greenery piece in here, maybe their soap, or you might put a greenery piece in like a candle, or all kinds of different stuff. And then of course, they all make great serving tools for, you know, appetizers and all kinds of things like that. Now also, you'll notice on here, I don't know if you can zoom in there and see, but it is actually microwave and dishwasher safe, lead free, and oven safe. So that's really good. That's a great feature. I especially love the lead free feature because you would be surprised how much dishware and all that stuff has lead in it, even though you would think not, because it's supposed to be used for food. So I was really glad to see that. They have a lot of neat things on their site, so I definitely recommend you check them out because I'm loving this piece. Now this video is not technically like sponsored or anything, as far as like they sent me the product to try. These opinions are completely my own, and all I got was the product. So I just wanted to let you know this is the first time I've done anything like this, so I'm a little new to that. But I love these trays. I really enjoyed using them, so I highly recommend. You know, from what I've used out of them so far, I love them and would definitely recommend them for you if you're looking for something like that. I'll have their website linked below as well. That way that if you'd like to order something off there, then, you know, you can find them and do that. But I hope you've enjoyed seeing me put these to good use. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.